Newcastle reject Liverpool's first formal bid for Alexander Isak. Newcastle have rejected Liverpool's first formal offer for striker Alexander Isak, who is pushing for what would be a British record move to Anfield. Isak has emerged as a priority target for Liverpool as they look to further strengthen their attacking ranks following the sale of Luis Diaz. The Swedish striker has already informed Newcastle of his desire to leave and, having not travelled for their pre-season tour of Asia, was revealed this week to be training at former club Real Sociedad. Newcastle are adamant their number 14 is not for sale and have now rejected a formal bid from Liverpool, per The Athletic's David Ornstein. The Premier League champions were previously reported to have made clear they would be willing to pay a British record £120 million, but the Mail's Craig Hope claims their initial offer was worth around £110 million. Despite their public stance that they would not sell Isak, Newcastle have set a valuation of £150 million for their centre-forward. It is widely expected that the two clubs will eventually reach an agreement and that could be in the region of £130 million. Liverpool were reported to be only willing to approach Newcastle if they were given encouragement from the club's end that a deal could be completed. Isak himself will have made clear there will be no issue in agreeing personal terms, with a number of sources claiming he had turned down advances from Saudi Arabia in order to prioritize a switch to Merseyside. The situation should progress in the coming days, with it unlikely Liverpool would have made a formal offer if they were not confident a deal could eventually be struck. They have already broken the British transfer record once this summer with the £116 million deal to sign Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen. Liverpool's overall spending so far amounts to £295 million, though the fees spent on Wirtz, Hugo Ekitike, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, Georgi Mamardashvili, Freddie Woodman and Armin Pexi are offset by significant departures. Diaz has joined Bayern Munich in a deal worth £65.6 million, with a combined £130 million brought in from his sale along with transfers for Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jarell Quansah, Kevin Kelleher and Nat Phillips. Ben Jacobs drops shock update in Liverpool move for Isak after bid rejected. Liverpool's bid for Alexander Isak on Friday morning has ramped up all hopes of them signing the Newcastle United star in the coming month of the transfer window, but GIVEMESPORT understand they will not be returning with a second offer. The Reds tabled an offer, which is now understood to have been worth £110 million with no further add-ons, on Friday morning, with Isak having signalled his intentions to leave the Magpies over the past 2 weeks. And Arne Slot's side have gone on the offensive by taking advantage of Isak's desire to leave. Despite signing Eintracht Frankfurt star Hugo Ekitike into their striking ranks, the Premier League champions could look to utilize Isak alongside him, with another testing season ahead, and all the signs pointed towards his arrival on Merseyside. The Reds tabled an offer, which is now understood to have been worth £110 million with no further add-ons, on Friday morning, with Isak having signalled his intentions to leave the Magpies over the past 2 weeks, and Arne Slot's side have gone on the offensive by taking advantage of Isak's desire to leave. Despite signing Eintracht Frankfurt star Hugo Ekitike into their striking ranks, the Premier League champions could look to utilize Isak alongside him, with another testing season ahead, and all the signs pointed towards his arrival on Merseyside. However, Liverpool have no plans to bid again for Isak. As it stands, with the nature of Newcastle's rejection meaning that they won't follow up with a second offer unless the situation changes, Liverpool say that there is no second bid planned currently, despite bidding with optimism initially. Newcastle's response was deemed to be so quick and strong that another offer is not currently in the works. Newcastle are hopeful agreeing a new contract with the Sweden international, with the hope of reintegrating him into the squad ahead of their Premier League opener in 2 weeks. They could even include an agreement that would see him leave next summer, but the key to his future now rests with how the player responds to this news. Liverpool say they could revisit their stance later in the window if the player doubles down and pushes for the move, and if Newcastle are able to find replacements, but that will only happen if the Toon give them encouragement. Liverpool will not bid again for Isak unless Newcastle indicate that they are open to a sale. As things stand, their stance is clear: Isak is not for sale. Personal terms are not thought to be an issue, should a deal get that far. Isak scored 23 Premier League goals last season, ranking only behind Liverpool star Mohamed Salah in the top goalscorer rankings, and their goals alongside creativity from the likes of Wirtz, Dominic Szoboszlai and Alexis Mac Allister among others could see them become a real force for many years to come. It's a signing that makes sense for Liverpool to complete whilst Isak is at the peak of his powers, with the chance to win trophies being his reasoning to move on, though any deal has now been plunged into doubt. Liverpool willing to pay £60 million up front to sign world-class star. Liverpool are prepared to pay a £60 million upfront fee in order to tempt domestic counterparts Newcastle United into allowing Alexander Isak to complete a big money switch to Anfield ahead of the summer transfer window slamming shut, according to Reds insider Dave Ornstein. The Merseyside heavyweights have already recruited a new marksman in preparation for their title defense, with Hugo Ekitike joining in a deal worth up to £79 million from Eintracht Frankfurt, but head coach Arne Slot is in the market for additional attacking reinforcements before the September 1 deadline. Liverpool are willing to part with an upfront fee of £60 million for Isak, according to Dave Ornstein, while the remainder of any agreed offer would be paid in installments as well as add-ons that could be activated over the course of his time with the reigning Premier League champions. The Reds have had an initial proposal for the striker pushed back by Newcastle, with the news emerging from the Athletic journalist David Ornstein, and members of the recruitment department are contemplating whether to return to the negotiating table with an improved offer in the coming days. Dave Ornstein reports that there is a growing feeling that Isak will be on Liverpool's books by the time the summer transfer window slams shut, following his decision to make it clear to his current employers that he wants to explore a move away from St. James's Park, and he has already agreed personal terms on a deal until 2031. It is understood that the Reds' opening bid for the Sweden international was worth £120 million plus add-ons, but Newcastle do not want to sanction his departure until they have a replacement lined up, and there are fears that they will be unable to recruit a new first-choice centre-forward. Luis Diaz's move to Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich has strengthened Liverpool's budget ahead of the transfer deadline, Dave Ornstein has claimed, and they are keen to splash the cash on Isak after he has been described as world-class by all-time leading Premier League goalscorer Alan Shearer.